All right. It's time for Wing 3 Infallible now. The reception from the Wing 2 Infallible with director cut commentary was pretty positive. So we're back at it again for my group's Wing 3. Running with Calculated Risk, Newbie, and all them. Thank you guys again for having me along for the Infallible journey. So yeah, here we are at the beginning of Wing 3. I'm playing Alacrity Luminary for this whole wing, which is a little bit of a change for me. I don't dabble a whole lot in Boon DPS too often, but they asked me to do it, and I felt capable of doing it. I had to, go and learn Alac DPS if I'm going to do it in the actual real run. But thankfully, Alacrity Luminary is not very different from just straight up power DPS Luminary. You activate an extra weapon in your Radiant Forge sometimes, and that just was what gives you Alacrity. And so I also padded the boon duration a little bit. I grabbed an extra few percentage points to really make sure the boon is well covered, because to me, the reason that we call it boon DPS is because the boon should come first. You should really focus on giving your subgroup the boon. So I didn't mind doing all of that. But anyway, here we are with the beginning. We've just started with summoning Glenna, and once she got to that purple, that Char Virtuoso, it was my job to grab her and pull her immediately, which pulls her down to that little ledge by the wall, and then we portal through the wall, and somehow it portals her through the wall, and I don't know how it works. I just did what I was told. Now here we cling to the side of the cliff here because we're avoiding a White Mantle group spawn, so that there are fewer White Mantle we have to deal with. The whole point here is to save time. As it's very similar to speedrunning, but a dear friend of mine pointed out that Infallible is not quite the same as speedrunning. It's doing it as safe as you can while still under the time limit, because if anybody goes down, the run's over. So the rest of the escort here, at least, is largely very similar to a typical escort run you would do, with your static or with bugs. One of the main differences is A, it's very fast, but B, you don't have a back warg because you're moving too quickly for them to ever be a problem. I'm on the ground team, obviously, and the tower team is doing what they can to cap towers as fast as they can, so that to disable the bloodstone turrets, so we can get Glenna to these ley line activation points as fast as we can, and we go through from there. Didn't have anyone die to mines, I don't think. Maybe once or twice, but nothing that was, a problem. This activation of the special action was my job to call her across right there. Very coordinated, very quick. You'll see even here we run her right past the warg. So there's going to be a pile up of wargs here at the end on these stairs, and some of them are back wargs catching up, but honestly, no, maybe they are all just front wargs we ran past. I didn't realize that till just now looking back at the minimap, but yeah, so this is a part where we wiped a few times because there are a bunch of wargs, and Glenna is very squishy to wargs, so I made sure to try to use my in past pulls, I tried to use Justice, tried to use that blind, tried to give Aegis with the advance or retreat, as the OGs call it. Now here we're kind of just waiting for McLeod to come down from the tower. As I understand it, if the tower team is fast enough and jumps down, he might not port up there to, try to thwart them or whatever he's doing up there. But unfortunately, we didn't get that timing, but also luckily we didn't really need it. So no big deal there. There's also, as I understand it, if you burst McLeod down fast enough while he's still rising out of the ground kind of respawning animation this here, you can skip a phase maybe or something. I seem to remember that being a discussion, but we didn't get that either. But whatever. Again, we didn't end up needing it. Also, I meant to mention this in the earlier part of the intro, but this was all one sitting to even begin attempting Wing 3 Infallible and to success. It took us about an hour and a half. So everybody, people talk about how Wing 3 is maybe the easiest. It kind of is. It was a little bit, people joke that it was free, and it felt kind of free. We didn't bash our heads against this wall at all after the multiple weeks we'd been running Wing 1 to just switch over to do Wing 3 because someone couldn't make it this particular week was a little bit of a breath of fresh air. Now here you'll see running into Keep Construct, our goal is to get in and be in the middle as soon as he descends from the ceiling or wherever his parts come from. And the hardest thing about this particular thing, we had to practice this a little bit. The hardest thing about Keep Construct is you don't want to CC him. You basically don't want to deal with the standing in green circles to withstand the magic. You don't want to deal with pushing the orbs. You don't want to deal with waiting for him to come down. Like if you know, the goal is to get him from 100 to 66, 66 to 33, and 33 to dead without ever needing to CC him. However, if we ignore the statues, those of you who are familiar with the fight will know, they will coalesce. They will combine into an evil red statue that steals your boons, and stolen boons are no fun for any people trying to do DPS. So it took a few tries. It took some getting used to, and in fact, despite the you know, don't let them combine. They'll spawn red guardians or whatever, red statues. We do end up with a red statue or two in this pull, in most pulls. And while that's not great for our boons, it does mean we can use our CC abilities freely. And as a luminary in this fight, and as I'm sure other classes have CCs built into their DPS rotation, it was a little bit freeing. You know, see, like right here, we've got the break bar, and we've really got to be careful not to. I'm really proud that we go into Forge here and I don't hit Hammer. I did not hit Radiant Forge 2 because that is a CC, even though it is arguably one of the more important abilities in the Luminary rotation, because it not only does sizable damage itself, but it also gives you that Radiant Armaments Hammer buff that's more damage. But anyway, I digress. It didn't ultimately matter. We got the phase. So here it's typical phase. Gather orbs, do what you do. And then as soon as he is vulnerable again, we basically start pummeling him. And we don't drag him to the side to worry about whatever statue there is. This is considerably different from a typical KC. Whereas the Escort was, in a lot of ways, really similar, just really fast. So, yeah, there's not a whole lot else to say about KC. I will fade out until I have something else interesting to say, I suppose. Best I can.
What if I just dodge all the ticks left side?
You can. Fuck, interrupted that. That was really bad.
Make sure we cleave these guys.
Now see, right here we fail to kill the statues. There's still 10% to phase. So we were a little bit worried about this right here. You know, that, oh, okay, we got to deal with the guy doing boons, and now we've got the colors mechanic, and I think we debated doing the mechanic. I don't really remember what was going on in voice, and like I said, this whole session was like an hour and a half or so, so it was like we didn't really have a whole lot of trial and error. We kind of newbie knew exactly what to do, and so he just told us what to do, and that was that. So yeah, it pretty typical fight. Once we get into Twisted Castle is extremely different from a typical one. There are, it's so different. It's really cool to see, but basically we start Castle. And you know what? Let me not get ahead of myself. Let me let KC finish out here, and then we'll yap about Twisted Castle when we get there. Cursed. Cursed. And now right here we get the CC, or excuse me, the DPS check. We managed to make it happen so that he doesn't jump up to the ceiling. That's something that's kind of important, but unfortunately because of the red statue stealing our boons, we didn't kill it before it jumped up to do this ceiling sky falling thing, whatever this mechanic is. It is what it is. Again, another time loss, but we end up not quite needing it. So now it's kind of just all hands on deck, just burst down, keep construct. We get the kill, easy peasy. My fastest ever keep construct, as you'll notice. Keep construct CM too, mind you, because Infallible requires that all CMs are active. Now for this, we split up. Some people went in different ways, but my job was to follow. Basically, we take a portal straight off the edge here. We go down there, kill some White Mantle. Right here, I tried to activate Spear 5 as we go through the portal so that I would come through and have the portal, or have the symbol be on the ground, but something CC'd me anyway. So we take that portal, kill the White Mantle, take the portal back, so we have to do that very quickly. Take this portal. I really like that I did that blast right there perfectly to help blast the smoke field. Kill these White Mantle. We were assigned, these two doors are going to open up once we kill these White Mantle, and I was assigned to go one way, another. You can see people going through the other door. And basically this is just to divide coverage to make sure all of the necessary buttons are pressed. I saw that our Mesmer blinked over there and got that button. I see them going over there to get that button, so I figure, okay, buttons are covered. I'm gonna touch the statue, and this is maybe my favorite part of Twisted Castle. Is my job was literally to make sure those 2 buttons are pushed and then get grabbed by a statue to come back here. Another really interesting thing is if we're not careful with this exact sequence, people can get trapped. If someone finishes the fight so that we can use the Lay Rift to come straight to Xera, that's really cool. But apparently, as can happen, if someone finishes the fight, or the fight before everyone has gotten grabbed by a statue and sent back to the beginning, you can actually strand people on those little walkways, those little islands, because in case anyone doesn't know, once the Twisted Castle is considered completed, all of those other doors shut. And if you're not at a high enough point that you can glide to the beginning, you're kind of just screwed. So yeah. Xera is largely quite a typical Xera, just rather fast. As you'd expect. These intro things are sort of function like time gates. There's, we have to break the shard. Hopefully we can do it in one cycle where we don't have to rotate buttons. That would have been a time loss that we didn't need, but it looks like both sides managed it. Yeah, Xera's pretty typical. 100 to 50 is just standard center strat. The islands are just, like I mentioned before, kind of a time gate. You're stuck doing the islands until they're done, and that's kind of that. Yeah, not a whole lot to say about Xera. I'll dip back out until we get further through the fight. It's awful feeling.
I mean, I brought Bassy this time.
I can get better ad control, that would be nice. That's better.
Don't make me be myself around you.
Yeah, it's mostly just the free ferocity, because if you have to rely on Severance to get crit capped, you probably lose way more.
This is the only one that's actually the time gate too.
Just for Severance. Yeah, pretty much. And on Luminary, because you're running Claw Relic anyway, anything that procs your Claw Relic can proc Severance as long as you hit the enemy. Yeah, really pretty typical stuff. I just I came back to mention that we chose to do Wing 3 instead of resuming progress on Wing 1 because one of our members, Bozo, couldn't make it for this particular week's Infallible meetups, our prog sessions or whatever. And so we thought instead of getting Wing 1 done and having to redo Wing 1, which would be a real pain in the ass, we would do Wing 3, which, as I've mentioned a handful of times this video already, is much more relatively free. So if that's something you'd like to see for real, I'm live on Twitch Monday through Friday. Our Infallible prog runs are Wednesday and Thursday. They just got changed from Tuesday and Wednesday. And we're going to be running Wing 3 again for Bozo. I wonder, I'm going to try to get my alt account geared and see if I can get an Infallible achievement on my alt account. I think that'd be really cool to have that fun little extra 10 points when we go and do it again for Bozo. I might even record another commentary video on that. Who knows? I'll have to see what I can get geared. Now, any regulars of the stream or any regular inspectors of my DPS logs might know that if at all possible, when I get ported at Xera, I try to come back. I call it committing sin because it's kind of against the spirit of the mechanics that was there. The reason the portal's even there is in case your healer gets ported, they can port back and keep everyone alive. But as a support, as a DPS, as such a serious run, I obviously elected to stay over here and to do the mechanic correctly. I think having the Luminary light aura burst on the crystal makes for a really fast crystal phase anyway. So it was maybe, like I said, kind of in my best interest. And it's funny that I get back in time to hit her for a few seconds and then it's like, oh, it's phase, and I get chosen and teleported again. And again, I noticed the portal. No one took the portal. It's too serious a fight. And so here she is at 8%. And now if you look down behind my music widget, you'll see that the eligibility is blinking. And so when the cutscene hit, there was a little bit of like, oh fuck, we didn't get it, we didn't do it in time or whatever. But then we open our achievement panel and there she is. That's how it's done. So yeah, that sums it up for Wing 3. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys enjoyed the commentary. More to come. Come hang out with us on Twitch. You can search me on Hellmasker. There'll be a link in the description. Yeah, I actually am recording this quite a bit in the future of the run. So Wing 1 is already done as well. We're after this, we were 3 out of 8, and right now we're actually 4 out of 8. Wing 5 begins this week. So that's it. That's it for me, gamers. Come see us. Thank you so much. Peace.